try to make up for that in the next couple of days by posting some things that I've been doing. Hi there. I'm back in my studio. I've been away for a while. Sorry about that. I hope you'll excuse the absence, but as a creator, artist, human, sometimes we just have to get away. And I've been on 2 trips since my last video was posted. One of them was to North Georgia for a plein air event that's painting outdoors. The Blue Ridge Mountain Art Association sponsored a plein air event, and Marcia Savage invited me to come up and paint with her and explore the area, so I took advantage of that. Thank you, Marcia. And I painted on surfaces with pastel that I'd never tried before. I thought this would be a good experience. And I was on the river, which is also a wonderful experience. And the mountains is one of my favorite places, and it was cool. Luckily, it was similar to what we're experiencing now, but a little warmer than that. I even won. Part of the exhibit was one of the things that we were participating in was a quick draw, quick paint event. You had an hour and a half to find, excuse me, something to paint in a designated area. And a tree caught my attention. There was a light shining on the shaft of a tree or the trunk of the tree. And I was just taken by it. So I decided to paint that in my hour and a half, and it turned out pretty good. So I was excited that I won that. Here is the painting, hour and a half. And it's done on a velvety, I call it a velour mat. It was given to me by a friend. I'd never painted on it before, and I just wanted to try it. I thought, heck, why not? And sometimes the times when we just play and experiment and you're not so hung up on, oh, it's got to be perfect, you do better. Just enjoy the journey, the creative flow. So that week I worked with oils and pastels and thoroughly had a wonderful time. In the end event, when you enter 2 works of art that you want to show for the show, I didn't win anything on that, which is fine. The other artists that were there were just phenomenal. Marcia got a ribbon, and it's funny, you know, when judging is so subjective, because our favorite of the 2 that she submitted was the one that didn't get the ribbon. So you just can't be too upset, or don't go into competing in art to win. Go in for the journey and what it teaches you. And if you don't win anything, you still learn something. So that's a win. So just the fact that I won, that was just a treat for me. So I really appreciate that. Well, when we got back from that trip, the next journey was to the Great Smoky Mountains with my husband. He had to put off his vacation when the lovely coronavirus hit. And so in April, we couldn't go anywhere because it was all shut down. So we put off our hiking trip for last week, and we were able to hike 44 miles in 4 days. And we do day hikes. I don't take a tent and sleep on the ground. I like a bed at night, but 44 miles in 4 days is pretty good. So I was excited about that. But when I do that kind of hiking, I don't take my oils or my pastels with me. What I take with me then is watercolors. And what I took most of the time consisted of this amount of products, supplies. I had I did have a mechanical pencil and a few other gadgets that I carry with this. But this is it's not Altoid for my breath. It's my watercolor kit that I made out of, how many? 8 and 5, 13 colors. And I have, I can't pull it out right now. It's a little stuck. Whoop, there it went. A kneading eraser. You always have to have an eraser with you so you can get rid of your boo-boos when you draw something you don't like. And these have magnets on the bottom so that they stay in my tin. Can you see that? And I always have a little clip with me. These are so important because when you're painting outdoors, there's usually, well, you hope there's always a breeze. And this little clip will hold your paper towel in place so it won't blow away. So I take these little clips. I like colored ones instead of black ones because the black ones are hard to find when you drop them. But take that clip, put it here, you'll have your paper towel here, and then you have a water brush or an aqua brush. My favorite kind is a pintail water brush, and this is a large size. That's the only one I carry, and the water goes through the handle of the brush and comes out here. So you can dip your brush in the paint on your journal, and when you want to change colors, you just wipe it on the paper towel and so on. I have videos. If you go to my channel, which I hope you do, please subscribe if you have not. Some of my very, very early videos were of classes that I was teaching when students were absent. I always tried to video the class, and the best way to just share that with them was a YouTube channel because it was free and everyone could access it. I didn't tell anyone but my students that I actually had a YouTube channel because I was kind of embarrassed about some of the stuff because nothing was edited. So, but if there's a lot of good content there, and there's some videos on how to, what other things to put in your creative little kit. Because traveling, this brush in itself has changed my world when it goes to traveling. I used to knit or do something with my hands when I travel just to stay busy. But since I learned about this brush and I can paint on the go, I painted on a plane, I painted in a train, not a train, a bus, should be Dr. Seuss, in a car when I wasn't driving. I can paint when I'm visiting with people and still be social, but yet still be creative. And I've made painting kits that weigh less than half a pound. I can even make my own small journal out of a piece of paper, and that's also in another video if you want to look that up, how to make your own little journal in one piece of paper. But I want to show you a couple of things that I painted on this past trip. Very, very, very quick and simple. Hope that'll focus. There we go. That was just a little look down the road when we stopped at the top of a ridge, and my husband was visiting with a couple other hikers, so I just pulled it out and did a quick sketch of what the road looked like and the hike beyond. And later that day, we went to, what was it? Spruce Flat Falls. This is in the Tremont area, and this is the top section of Spruce Flat Falls. I usually stay in the lower part, which would be way down here if I did a full-length painting, but trees had fallen from a recent storm and had really blocked the view, so I hiked up across the rocks, came down on my butt because that's the only way I could get back down, but it was worth it. There was actually a man swimming in the cold water down here, so that might be on one of the videos that I post of my trips. And so the next day, Brad and I hiked up to Gregory Bald. We logged about 12 miles that day, but the actual hike is about 11 and a half, and it's 5.5 miles up with over 3,000 feet elevation gain. So by the time we got there, we were kind of tired. And we had hiked it before, but we had lost weight and gotten in better shape, so this time it wasn't so bad. But when I sat down to do my journal, I pulled it out and I turned the page and realized this was not watercolor paper. Shoot. I did not pay attention that my waterfall was my last journal entry. But these field artist journals, Field Artist Journal. Had a surprise I totally had forgotten about. In the very back was a panorama view. All right, now that might be out of focus. Maybe it's not. But I was at the top of a mountain. So what better paper is a panoramic view? So I sat down and I painted that view, and it was so much fun. It was just a quick sketch. I mean, 15, 20 minutes or something, just enough to capture it. So when I got back, I realized, I didn't have another journal. The only other journal I had was a larger one. This is one that I started a few years back, 2017, and I hadn't finished it because I found the smaller journals, and I love to travel with them because they're little and they don't weigh as much. But I had brought this one with me, so I'll show you a couple of quick ones that I did. Okay. This was the corner of the mill at the Smoky Mountains Visitor Center in Cades Cove. And it was our lunch spot. Wednesday, we walked the Cades Loop Road, which is 11 miles, and that Wednesday there were no automobiles allowed, so it was only bikers and walkers, and it was so much fun. Did that one, whoops, turned one too many page. And then the next day, our hiking, well, 2 days later actually, put it that way, let's see, there we go. 2 days later, after over 2.5 inches of rain, we went back to Cades Cove, and we were just driving around, and we stopped at the top of one of the hills and had our lunch, and I just did that sketch from the car window. So if you love to travel and you want to travel light and still be creative, I would recommend that you check out these watercolor brushes. I think they even sell them at Michael's and Hobby Lobby now. It used to be I had to get them online, but the Pentel is my favorite because it has this teeny tiny, see if I can get that to focus. There we go. Teeny tiny point. And when I have that teeny tiny point, if I want a teeny tiny line, I just barely touch the paper with it. So go back to some of my videos, like I said before, even though they're unedited. If you scroll back, believe it or not, I have already posted over 100 videos. I couldn't believe it. I went back and checked myself. I just couldn't believe it that that many had been posted over less than a year. Good little art tool. You will love it. And if you don't, you could give it to me. But let me know what you think. If there's something that I've shared with you that has been helpful, if you have any questions about some of the products, I'll try to include that. And I'm going to include some snippets and some photos, hopefully at the end of this, of some of the trips I've taken in the last 2 weeks. So feel free to sit back and enjoy the view. If you see some image that, you want to paint it. I'm going to give you permission. Anything off this particular video that you see that inspires you or you want to paint, I would love for you to use it as inspiration. I have a friend that unfortunately can't hike anymore. She's in a wheelchair. She has MS, and so when we go on hikes, we're hiking for her. So enjoy the journey with her and with us, and I'll see you later. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.